All right, everybody welcome in here to Trending Politics Live, special Saturday edition. I've got a special guest with me. His name is John Dawson. Now, for anyone who doesn't know who John Dawson is, I'm going to let you talk here in a minute, man. But
Yeah.
this guy, I found him many, many months ago. We're on TikTok. We're on social media. He has, and some of you might not know, but he has very, very close to about to hit the 500,000 mark in followers all across his different social media. And so, John, every time I talk to you, man, you always have a very, very interesting way of just talking politics from a way to where, you're not. It's not always one side or the other. You always like to see other people's opinions. And I'm glad, man, that you're going to be reacting with me today to get the reaction from all the political fallout in the last 24 hours, man. So if you want to just give our audience just like a quick update, introduction to who you are, and then we'll get into all the craziness that's happened in the last 24 hours or so.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on here. This is exciting. This is the first time I've really gone live like this. But my name is John Dawson. Like he said, I'm a general contractor from Texas. Got into politics. I've always been into politics. Never really spoke out about it because, it was never something that I did. But then as soon as Black Lives Matter popped up again, I saw people just getting sucked into another big slew of lies. And I was like, you know what? Somebody's got to say something. We don't have too many people, that are Black that are out there literally making it comfortable for people who want to come out and say stuff like I've said. So I decided to come out and talk about politics. I've really been into it for a while. I've just started voicing it probably the last six months or so. And man, it's a deep dive. It's a crazy time right now. And especially what we're going to talk about right now, dude.
Yeah.
It's wow. But thank you for having me on, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So everyone, this whole tone, everybody, is going to be a little bit more conversational. I know we're used to the live daily streams where I'm, bringing you information. So I'm still going to be bringing you information, showing you videos, but we're going to be chatting, having a long conversation. Because you and I, John, man, we were talking on the phone earlier, and it's like, man, we should have been recording this. Like, we should have been recording the phone call because we were just vibing and chatting politics. So I want to start off, man, by talking just about, Ruth Bader Ginsburg in general. Now, everyone pretty much watching this, like many of us disagreed politically with her. Okay. Like there's no if, ands, or buts about that. However, that doesn't take away from the fact that she showed incredible strength health-wise through all of this. She was struggling with cancer. I mean, on trendingpolitics.com, it seemed like, all the time we were sitting there writing articles. Well, here she goes again. She's going back into the hospital, and got to give her credit. She, even though she was old and frail and going through a lot, she would hit the gym and, get back on it, And so, did you have anything you want to say about that?
Well, she was, regardless of how you see something, regardless of how you view things, regardless of what politics you're into or what side of the aisle you're on, no one can deny that lady was a strong woman. I mean, if you want to look at somebody that's motivated, that's driven by something more than just personal reasons, like she was legit in there doing what she thought was best for the people, for whatever reasons she had. Strong woman. Like it's as you know from my TikTok and everything that I do, I love seeing all sides of the entire picture. And that lady, without a shadow of a doubt, was a strong woman, and I'm really impressed with her legacy. Great woman for sure. Like I'm still in shock to a certain extent of just like, she seemed like that person that was invincible. Like in all honesty, she really did.
Yeah, she was very, very strong. Now, Rudy Giuliani said, he tweeted this right after she passed away. He said, I'm going to take down this caption real quick. Rudy Giuliani tweeted this out, and I think it sums it up very, very well. So he said, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a credit to the court. I disagreed with many of her decisions, but they were all well-reasoned and well-argued. She was a close friend of her ideological opposite, Justice Scalia. They both loved opera, law, and the USA. May she rest in peace. I think that was a very kind, very touching response there. We also have a little bit more about the Antonin Scalia, Ruth Bader Ginsburg relationship right after he passed away. And I know this is a small text for you guys, but I just want to read you what she said here. After Scalia passed away, she said in the third paragraph here, "We were best buddies." And then someone else said that they like to fight things out in good spirit, in fair spirit, not the way we see debates these days on television. So it sounded like her and Justice Scalia had a very nice back and forth, even though they disagreed politically. And, this is going to, everybody bringing us in here, over 2,500 people watching live, this is going to bring us in here to one of the most touching moments that I've seen in a long time from President Trump. He was about to board his plane after his rally, and so I'm going to play the clip, and then I want you to react to it, and we'll chat about it afterwards. So everybody, this is the moment that President Trump found out that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had passed away right after his rally. Let's check it out. And turn up your volume if you can't hear it, people.
Yeah. She just died? Wow. I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time. She led an amazing life. What else can you say? She was an amazing woman. Whether you agreed or not, she was an amazing woman who led an amazing life. I'm actually sad to hear that. I am sad to hear that. Thank you very much.
Man. So when you first saw that, John, what was your reaction, man?
Man, it was. I couldn't believe it because I had heard a little bit before that video came out, and when I saw his reaction, I was kind of worried because myself personally, I immediately went to, what does this mean? I was worried Trump might do the same thing, but you could see he was legit set back. He was overwhelmed with that information because regardless of, like he said, regardless of if you disagreed with her or not, you could not deny the fact that she was a strong woman and that she stood and truly believed what she stood for. So I think, one, his reaction is emotional to me because, I mean, the man's human. We forget that a lot of the time. This man is human. He cares about life. And that is a life loss that he knew personally. And I think I don't think you can't calculate that. You can't prepare that. You can't fake that. Absolutely. You can't, there's no theatrics there. I think he was really taken back and just kind of like walked off. You could see his eyes after he turned, just deep in thought and just like, wow, that's a life lost. So I think it was emotional, man. And the music in the background, like we talked about on the phone.
Yeah.
It just makes the whole thing more like, it's a human life that's been lost. And before anything else, before we go into whatever that means, you got to understand this was a life lived. This was someone who impacted hundreds of thousands of people. And it's a loss, but I think Trump reacted appropriately and you could tell he was feeling it.
Yeah, absolutely. Cause I mean, now again, as I told you on the phone earlier, it's like, I don't know how, of all the people that surround him, all the security, everything that happens, I don't know how not one person after the rally pulled him aside and said, by the way, Ruth Bader Ginsburg just passed away. I don't know how that conversation didn't happen. We're 44 days away from the 2020 election, and a cataclysmic event just happened that is probably going to, God only knows what's going to happen next. So the reporter told him, and he was genuinely like, whoa. Like, you can tell that he took time to let it affect him. He's like, whoa. And he's like, she's an amazing woman. She lived a great life. She believed in what she stood for. And and as you said, man, at first when I saw that video, I thought, wait, did somebody already edit this video and put Elton John in the background and a nice emotional, such an emotional song? And I'm like, no, that was playing in the background after the rally. Yeah. And the song happened to start, those beautiful piano chords started right when he was talking about this, and he reacted well. And, and credit to, and that video did make the rounds, and credit to CNN. I was on their website last night because everything was so crazy, just seeing what the other side was saying. Yeah. And credit to them. It was like the link was literally right below the top story of the page. So credit to them for actually showing that, because sometimes they like to kind of
I didn't look at CNN. What did they say under that clip?
All it said is, here's President Trump's reaction. So,
Okay.
I mean, look, they could have ignored it. I mean, if it
Yeah.
was Obama,
Yeah.
they probably would have said, it probably would have been the front page video, take a look at Obama's touching
Yeah.
response or whatever. But but hey, man, credit, yeah, that video is making its round on social media, so it will not be silenced. It definitely won't be silenced. But
Yeah.
that was just an amazing moment here. And
Yeah.
guys, as much as a lot of people, they always, they will, trash people or say, hey, we shouldn't make deaths political. Well, when your position is so political, I think it's almost impossible to not tie those two together. And so now it's time for us to get into the fallout of this.
Yeah. You can't ignore the
Yeah.
repercussions, regardless of any. There's no disrespect moving forward, but I mean, this is a big deal in politics. With the momentum that this presidential campaign has, you can't just. There's no, like you said. I mean, 45 days or something like that away from
44. Yeah.
the election. Like you don't have time to sit back and be like, hey, moment of silence for a week or whatever. Like things happen quick, and this is a nation of people needing guidance. So you kind of have to roll on, especially with a pivotal position like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So on that note, we're going to cover a couple different things, including a breaking news development that literally just happened 10 minutes before we went live. So let me set the stage here. So this morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, President Trump tweeted this out because a lot of people were wondering what he's going to do. And he made it very, very clear this morning. He said, he mentioned the GOP. It says, we were put in this position of power and importance to make decisions for the people who so proudly elected us. The most important of which has long been considered to be the selection of United States Supreme Court justices. We have this obligation without delay. So what's your response to Trump just taking action, just saying, hey, not leaving any stone unturned, saying we're going to do it?
I respect it 100%. Obviously, I'm a Trump regardless. I respect his forwardness. I respect the fact that he's not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes, being like, well, we're going to do, knowing very well that he's going to. I like that he comes out and he just says exactly what his intentions are, what he's thinking. And I just have to respect it, and I fully agree with it. That's why he's in that position, and we're not, And as much as people might think it wasn't, and he was just like, yeah, throw it. That's a difficult decision. It really is. Like the repercussions of him stating that could be very bad. But I again, like that's why I really do like Trump, and why I back him 100% is because he is that guy who says it like it is, and I back that decision 100%. What do you think? Because I don't think we even covered this when we were on the phone.
Yeah, no, we didn't. I think there's really no other choice. I mean, we have an election coming up that could potentially be a contested election, and if there is no uneven number of Supreme Court justices, then if there's my goodness, like, can you imagine a contested election and then a 4-4 split in the Supreme, if it had to go to the Supreme Court, a 4-4 split. Now, having said that, the court now is more conservative because they just lost their biggest liberal voice. So the left right here, like, look, I don't feel for the left much, and I don't even feel for them here because of the slander against Brett Kavanaugh a couple years ago and the slander against Trump every single day. But I mean, they're in a catch-22 here. If they say, no, you can't, no new Supreme Court justice before the election, it's like, okay, well, you just lost your biggest liberal voice here, so you guys don't even have a strong majority anyways.
Yeah. So
it's rough.
It's tough, and I like you said, I feel bad, but I don't. But they really are in a chokehold here, where it's just like I think, and I don't know, I don't have a better term to say, but I think it's kind of like that old school shoot 'em out, where it's like each side's gonna do absolutely what they can. But again, like we talked, and you could probably talk better than I did. But in the past, when that was happening, what, it was 2016. Was it
with Scalia? Yeah.
So it's it's oh man, it's one of those things where I would love to be a fly on the wall in these meetings the next three,
Yeah.
4, 5 days, because I don't want to bring up anything before you bring it up, but that tweet that you had, where they were talking about, I don't want to get too forward,
That's
but
fine.
to me it's a lot. It's a lot. I don't. Yeah.
So everyone, the tweet he's talking about here is the left has already begun to say, like, no doubt about it, if they even try to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg, we burned the entire effing thing down. And it got over 10,000 tweets, or sorry, 10,000 likes. And it looks like I took this screenshot yesterday. Yesterday at 5:01
That was like,
p.m.
yeah.
So that was almost an entire day ago. So God only knows how many more likes it has
It's
now.
blown up. Yeah.
So I mean, the left is now very, very apparent that this is the path they're going to take. Now, I don't know why they think that a riot would change anything. So what's happening now is this, though. There's a few huge developments, and we'll get into the. Actually, no. You know what? Let's go into what you were saying a little bit about 2016 about Justice Scalia. So Justice Scalia died in February of 2016. And immediately the Democrats wanted to go all in and get a new justice. Now, here's the thing. After doing some more research about it, Mitch McConnell's reason for not wanting to push through Merrick Garland is he actually, we could say he's a hypocrite, and I do kind of agree. But at the same time, it's like, well, Mitch McConnell said the presidency and the Senate were not united on who we wanted. So my thing is this. He didn't even put the vote of Merrick Garland up in 2016. But guess what? If they would have held the vote, Republicans would have would have struck it down anyways.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I don't know what we really missed out on. I mean,
that's kind of where it goes to where that the scenarios are similar, but it's also, like you said, it wouldn't have happened in this situation. It's pretty much a slam dunk. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the difference where it's like, yeah, go ahead. He could have pushed it through and counted on the Republicans to veto it and do it that way to where he wouldn't be a hypocrite in this situation. Yeah. But since he didn't, I understand where the hypocritic, where he becomes a hypocrite now just by obviously they're going to push it through, and I couldn't imagine it catching any backlash or any fight back from anybody. So again, and like we said on the phone, I feel like this is not a time where you're going to just say, hey guys, let's play this respectful game of don't step on anybody's toes, and let's just wait for the election to happen and then we'll do it. That's not the tone of this election at all. I mean, if you look at the stuff that Biden's putting out, the Democratic, pretty much just Democrats in general. Yep. There's no, I don't want to say fair play, but there's no conceding on any side. There's no give and take. It's 100% go out and get what you can get. So the fact that they think they're going to say, hey, if you even try to, push this through, we're going to burn the place down. You can tell right there by them saying we're going to burn the place down shows you that there's no give and take here. It's 100% take until you have it all. So I don't understand how you can come out with a phrase like that, basically saying it's war right now, and expect your opposing side to be like, okay, like, let us calm down. We're going to do a favor for you guys to, it's like giving the enemy your game plan and being like, here's our game plan. I'm sorry. It was so good that, I thought you could read it first. Like, it just, I don't really understand where the Democrats' heads are. I understand the feeling and the emotion behind it of like, well, this is just not fair. That whole thing that everybody likes to talk about is fair. Everything's fair. No, it's not fair, but sometimes the dice roll and it doesn't roll in your favor and it rolls in someone else's favor. And it just so happens to coincide with an insanely pivotal election. And fortunately, I'm on the side that's happy right now. Yeah. But I have to say, like, I really is. I'm biased. I'm biased because I'm happy. But I mean, it is what it is. And like you said, if this would have happened and it was just literally the exact opposite, do you really think the Democrats are going to be like, all right, yes, no, because they'd just be like, no, like no, we're doing it. So I don't feel bad. Like you said, I feel bad, but I don't feel bad. It's the way the game's played. It really is. Like, just to be blunt, it's the way the game's played.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too, is like, everyone says like, oh my God, Republicans, they are just not noble. They are not. again, I ask, would the Democrats, if they were in this exact position, would they even think for a second to, oh, no, let's wait until after the election, let's be respectful? Imagine this. Imagine if it was, let's say we go back to 2016. Imagine if it was the Democrats who had the presidency, which they did, and let's imagine that they had the Senate. That's all they would have needed. And then imagine that Hillary Clinton was losing in the polls, because even though I don't really trust the polls, they show Joe Biden winning. So again, shoe on the other foot. If Hillary was losing back, if their candidate was losing in the polls and they still had the presidency and the Senate, they would have pushed this thing through right away. They wouldn't be playing no noble games. They wouldn't sit there and say, let's respect the process and let's wait. And so Obama in 2016, I mean, he was not shy about what he thought should have happened. So this is one tweet from him. Summer's almost over, Senate leaders. This is in 2016. August 30th, people. August 30th of 2016. Summer's almost over, Senate leaders. Hashtag do your job. Fill the Supreme Court vacancy. That's one. The next one. This is August 16th. Reminder, it's the Senate's job to fairly consider Supreme Court nominees. Hashtag do your job. And then it says his quote, presidents do not stop working in their final year of their term. Neither should a senator. And then finally, he said this on October 19th, but right before the election. So think about this, you guys. October 19th, 2016. This is weeks before the election. Barack Obama was still calling. This is a month ahead, a month further than where we are right now in time. Yeah. And Barack Obama was saying the need for a ninth justice is undeniably clear. And he's saying we saw a deadlocked Supreme Court with no tie-breaking vote, unable to reach a majority on a major immigration case. So for them saying we don't have enough time before the election, well, Obama was wanting a ninth justice 2 weeks before the election. I mean, I don't know how much more clear it gets than that,
That's shots fired, 100%. I mean, he was basically, hashtag do your job. That's basically saying, look, guys, like, I'm asking, but I'm not. I'm saying do it. Like, go, like, get it done. Which I don't fat at all. That's exactly what they would be doing now. That's exactly if Hillary happened to get elected, that's exactly what she would be doing right now. I think, like you said, if she was behind in the polls, or if a Democrat was behind in the polls, they'd do it. I think they would do it if they were ahead in the polls. I don't think there would be a hesitation at all. Period. If this circumstance was flipped and they were just crushing whoever their opponent was, they would do it. It's not about fairness. It's really just about how are you going to get your, I don't want to say agenda, but how are you going to get your agenda through quicker? And that's by filling that seat with someone who agrees with you. So if you have that opportunity, you're gonna fill the seat. Like it's
really simple, because these people voted for these senators to do that job. And hey, like it or hate it, in 2016, the voters who elected those Republicans to the Senate, they voted for them to do just that. So whether or not you like it. Now, here's the one other big consequence of all this, or big, false reaction, is people are saying that, oh man, Republicans are going to pay at the polls. If they just ram this through, they're going to pay at the polls. Well, guess what? They didn't pay at the polls in 2016. We had the Senate majority, and we won the presidency. We gained in the Senate and won the House. Yeah. And this is with all the Democrats saying Mitch McConnell is going to bring the Republican Party down by not putting up Merrick Garland. And it's like, well, I don't really know if there's going to be a lot of fallout from voters, because they didn't do it in 2016. And now we have a huge possibility of our election being contested, where a 4-4 split is not going to get it done. We need a ninth justice now. So I think that's the key argument there.
That is actually, I think I actually hadn't really thought about that, but that is very true. That can't be empty if it were to come into play, because then you're just done. Like, I mean, so say we don't feel it, say that happens. I'm not educated enough to fully say what would happen if that were to play out that way. Like
If it was a four,
a
I
four
don't know. I mean, if it was a
4-4
4-4,
split.
so if a contested election and a 4-4 split, I think at that point the simulation breaks and the
And
world just explodes.
the matrix is broken and we just reset. We start over.
Yeah, something happens, man. Like, I mean, imagine I did a video last night on Instagram where I imagined it as if I was the writer of 2020 and I went to an election board and I made the election 269 to 269. And so imagine that with a split Supreme Court justice. That's when I think where it's like the gears just it's just all over. It's all over.
And like that's the real 2000. The Y2K actually happens.
We thought the computers weren't gonna click to January 1st, 2000, and this is not what actually happened.
That would be crazy. I think like you said, going back to what you said, that is a very valid argument to say, look, just look at this election. Look at the direction it's been going. How could I mean, no crazy talk at all. How can we educatedly say that this won't happen? And if it does happen, we would be completely screwed. So if that's the case, we need to fill it, no matter what. As much as it's going to hurt the Democrats so much, because in my own crazy world, I feel like that's kind of a direction where people want it to go in certain areas. So it has to be filled. I think it's actually detrimental to fill the spot, because I think it would be neglected or it would be neglecting a very important avenue if he didn't, if it were to turn and go that direction, which I hadn't thought about. I think you mentioned that on the phone call, but yeah, that could be that, like you said, I don't know. I don't even know what happened, but that would be bad. So I think exactly. I don't see a problem in filling it. I see a valid, actually, I see a very solid and valid reason to fill the seat ASAP. And it just so happens that the Republicans happen to have a very well-oiled machine that can get that done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very smoothly.
And I think that the reason why the left as well is throwing a temper tantrum over here is like, I don't mean to, quite literally like children. You have children, I don't. But like if they throw a fit, right? It's like sometimes it's like it's their last resort. They don't know. Yeah. They don't know what else to do. They don't know what else to do. And now it really is. They are screwed either way, because if Trump puts in somebody, then guess what? Like if Trump puts in somebody in the Supreme Court justice, then it's going to be favorable to him. Now it's a 4-4 split now technically, but there are more, like, it just took a conservative slant because one of the biggest, liberal justices,
their biggest voice,
their leader just passed away, and so either way, it's just not good. And so I think that their only reaction is we riot, and that's what they're going to do. So I really don't know what happens next. Now, I guess in talking about that, what happens next is something that just broke right before we went live. So all you need in the Senate to approve a Supreme Court justice here is a simple majority in the Senate. It used to be to where you needed like 60, at least 60 votes. Now all we need is 50 votes, and since we have a Republican president and vice president, Mike Pence can break that tie if it's 50-50. Now. Yeah. Some new developments happened to where that's going to be razor thin. Right before we went on air, Susan Collins, who is a Republican, said that the president who's elected on November 3rd should be the one to fill the Supreme Court vacancy. So now that brings us from 53 to 52. Last night, Lisa Murkowski from Alaska said this. She said this right before it was announced, but the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg is not going to change anything. She said the same thing as well. 53 to 52. What is 51? Oh, that's our buddy Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is 51. So he's most likely not going to vote. So it is now the last saving grace is Lindsey Graham. And he just came out today and had this pair of tweets, everybody. So he might very well be our saving grace, good old-fashioned Lindsey Graham. He tweeted this morning. The two biggest changes regarding the Senate and judicial confirmations that have occurred in the last decade have come from Democrats. Then he says, I hope I got them in order here. Oh, nope, of course I didn't. Here's this. All right, well, hey guys, we're doing it live here. All right, so he says, Harry Reid changed the rules to allow a simple majority vote for circuit court nominees, dealing out the minority. Chuck Schumer and his friends in the liberal media conspired to destroy the life of Brett Kavanaugh and hold that Supreme Court seat open. And then he says, in light of these two events, I will support President Trump in any effort to move forward regarding the recent vacancy created by the passing of Justice Ginsburg. So if nothing changes, it's going to be 50-50, and it's razor thin, man. It's razor 50, thin.
And then we have Vice President
Mike Pence to break the tie. I mean, you can't
all you need is one crazy person going rogue, and then it's just
Yep. I mean, this is like literally at the buzzer. Mike Pence in here from the 3-point line.
Yes, from the 3-point line.
I don't know if you're familiar with basketball, but one of my favorite players is Robert Horry from the Lakers back in the day, and he sunk the shot against the Kings in the last second, and that's what I feel like. He would be the last saving grace, and it would barely eke through, but it would eke through, and there's nothing like the year 2020 to get us into where we need a tie-breaking vote.
I'm telling you, with everything that's going on with sports, man, C-SPAN is going to be the new sports channel. This is I didn't these tweets, and I'm just I'm confident, but I'm not. Like at the same time, just because I mean, we are in 2020. Let's be real.
It's going to be crazy. I don't know what happens next. Because, and now I guess we could talk about a little bit more just fallout in general, because look, no matter what happens, President Trump is going to appoint someone. Now, depending on who he appoints, okay, the level of rioting and looting and whatever, God knows what else happens might depend on who he nominates. Now, on his list, I didn't come prepared with the list. I don't know why I didn't. I got all these tweets ready, but not the list. But President Trump, let me see if I can bring it up here. But President Trump had this list of SCOTUS of Supreme Court nominees. And, oh man, you guys, one person who's on his list is Senator Tom Cotton. Now, Tom Cotton is notorious for saying that the days of Roe versus Wade should be numbered. So if he were to put him through, oh my God, get ready for some fire.
I was looking at that. There's no way he can. He couldn't. I feel like that would be, the fallout would be, I mean, astronauts extreme.
I agree. He did. I think he would need. I mean, conservatives would maybe be like, but I mean,
even most conservatives would be like, this is too much. This is creating too many problems for what it's like. There's just other options.
There is. There are.
I had that list up a minute ago.
Yeah, I actually have it here. So let me actually share my screen here. I just pulled this up from the New York Times. One of the most popular ones here is where's she at? Is Amy Coney Barrett. This is the one that many conservatives are wanting, and she is not some super staunch woman. She says Judge Barrett, a member of the Federal Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit, is the likely front runner for the job, as Republicans see advantages in replacing Justice Ginsburg with a woman. A former law professor at Notre Dame, Judge Barrett has a rock star reputation in conservative circles. Her devout Catholicism prompted through tough questioning by Democrats at her confirmation hearing in 2017. And then they say that, her interview with Trump in 2018 didn't go well, but we'll see what happens. There's a lot of chatter around her. So she might be a more moderate pick. She might be something more logical.
I think that would be a good pick. I was trying to find the list, but I couldn't find all of them. I think she'd be a great pick because you're replacing, and as much as I don't like saying this, you're replacing a female with a female, and you're not putting in a male that is in less, I don't know how to say it, but taking away female rights. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that right there, especially with everything that's going on already, I think that, you know, you need to choose your battles. And if you have a qualified individual that can do it, that can create less fallout, in my book, now I don't know the deep, you know, statistics behind both of them, but in my book, on a topical level, that would be less fallout, and you'd still get exactly what you needed. And I think that's a much better option, and I would be very happy about that one.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, and you almost don't want, I mean, like Tom Cotton is just a staunch Republican. I mean, just like no wiggle room whatsoever. And he's very legit. But I think, you know, like you said, take what you can get at this point. I mean, they were just given, I mean, nobody expected them to have another seat open before the election. My God, we're 40 something days away, man.
Just like I said on the phone, this is like a movie. Like when I saw that, I think I was literally saw it pop up on my screen, and then you texted me, and I was like, because we were texting back and forth at the time, and I was like, dude, like what? Because we were talking about podcast topics, and I was like,
right,
are you serious? Like,
yeah, everybody,
not being real. It just keeps rolling in and rolling in and rolling in, and this 2020 just keeps becoming this movie script of just back and forth, because there's been a lot of things that have pinged the Republicans and knocked them down. And it's just like this back and forth of opportunity taken, opportunity missed. It's really exciting, and I'm really excited to see how things play out. There's obviously going to be they're going to appoint somebody, which, I mean, I don't care how you feel about it, it's going to happen. And then I'm curious to see what the fallout of that is and how it changes the polling and the numbers, because it is going to have some sort of effect. I don't know exactly what, but yeah. I really don't. It's hard for me to say. What do you think would happen once this person's appointed, or at least once they announce exactly what they're going to do?
I mean, it's going to depend. I mean, because a lot of people liked Kavanaugh, and that's another thing. So yeah, it depends on who it is. I mean, I mean, there's probably no other more anticipated piece of information waiting to drop than who President Trump is going to select. Man, I mean, you know, it's gonna be absolutely huge. Now, keep in mind, everybody, no matter who it is, the Democrats are going to scream from the rooftops. Trust me, no matter who it is, they're going to have racist past, anti-immigrant past.
They're digging it right now. They're digging it all up right now.
They're going to be, they're against women's rights. They want to take away your rights, all this stuff. They're gun hawks. Just be prepared for all the same. And I was thinking about this too, is that whoever's on that list needs to immediately make right with their like high school buddies and stuff, because the Democrats go way back, man. Oh, yeah. And another reason I don't feel bad is, I mean, they slandered Brett Kavanaugh. They made this man's life a living hell. It was a nightmare, man. And that's another thing too. In 2018, one of the big deals with that was that it was right before the midterm elections. So the Democrats were wanting to hold off that appointee because Kavanaugh was actually selected was approved, confirmed in early October. I believe it was October 6th of 2018. And the midterms were that next month. So the Democrats were not wanting them to do it before the election then. But as we showed you guys, everyone was, the Democrats were not saying to wait. And I'm going to play a clip here of Nancy Pelosi. This is her in 2016 saying that Congress had a constitutional duty.
I remember that, yeah.
Duty. So I'm going to play her clip right now.
We love the Constitution, and I would hope that we could follow it in his honor. However, the Republicans have a breathtaking refusal to meet their constitutional duty to give Justice Scalia's replacement a timely vote and a fair hearing. Republicans' contempt for functioning government and their disrespect for the president knows no bounds. Evidently, it isn't enough for Republicans to merely shut down government or threaten the full faith and credit of the United States of America. They must sabotage the Supreme Court, too.
I've said...
Ooh, just like the Democrats, we can dig up a lot of stuff, too.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Nancy Pelosi, we agree with you. They have a constitutional duty now to do this, and I. No matter what happens going forward, man, it's not going to be good. I mean, I'm going to be in DC the first weekend of October. Whoa, man, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the world is going to look like in 2 weeks from now. I mean, think about that. Like, at least before this happened, 24 hours ago, we at least kind of had a little bit of a glimpse of what the next month and a half we're going to look like. Now, I don't know what 2 weeks from now is going to look like.
Yeah, I really thought I was thinking about it because I was working on creating content for TikTok and other platforms, and I was like, all right, like what's the juice? Like what's going on right now? And I'm like because when I first started doing all this, there's everything. I mean, you could literally wake up every morning. There's 5 headlines you could go after and research.
Right, coronavirus.
Yeah, everything. So then I was like looking for stuff, and I'm like, there's not really much out here. Like things have kind of plateaued a little bit. Like the presidential races, the campaigns were kind of getting back on track. Everything seemed a little normal, and I was like, man, there's not much craziness going on. And then like an hour after, bam, this hit, and I was just like, I'm like, 2020 does not want me to sleep. Like it just does not.
And you know what I just thought of a little bit ago. I was gonna make a meme. So if any one of you 1,200 people, you feel free to make this meme before I do, because I'm just gonna give it to you right now. There's that meme of the truck of a Jeep going down the highway, and it's throwing someone out the window. So like I was thinking about putting right there, it's like Black Lives Matter and climate change out the window, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. After, like, Democrats after Ruth Bader Ginsburg dying, hey, Black Lives Matter, I have a little announcement for you. Democrats aren't going to give a damn about you starting today.
It's so true. We had you are no longer important. We just had something that is a lot more important, and you can't help us with that. So adios. We'll see you later. We'll see you in another 4 years. Yep.
Oh, so Black Lives Matter. Yeah, we'll talk to you later. And the whole justice for everyone, all those protests going in the streets. Yeah, even the coronavirus. Yeah, we'll put you on the shelf. And Bob Woodward, I know you came out about that stuff about President Trump on tape. We don't care about that anymore. And then, climate change. Oh, by the way, climate change. Yeah, no. Sorry, guys. We're going to be getting on as many private jets as we can over the next few days.
We got to move around.
We got to move around. So, I mean, we could talk about that for a second, too, because, I mean, now the Democrats, so coronavirus was politically advantageous for us for a little bit, and then George Floyd died, and then Black Lives Matter was very politically advantageous for us, and then it was also politically advantageous for us to not call out the protests, even though they were protesting and rioting without masks and looting stores, but we're not going to call that out right away. And they had an entire week of the DNC to denounce violence, and they didn't. And now when things started to calm down, okay, cool, we'll denounce violence now, and that doesn't matter. So now, what do you think the Democrats are going to do? I mean, they probably will just throw it all out the window and just focus on this now.
I think they will. I think they actually shot themselves in the foot with endorsing. I don't say endorsing, but standing with the Black Lives Matter movement, especially since, like we talked about on my podcast, where whoever decided to say defund the police really should have thought that through. It's really hard for anyone to get behind that. So they kind of tanked that already, and that's why when they saw that Trump was starting to gain in areas that he wasn't supposed, Biden wasn't even campaigning. I already got him. I've had him. It's not a big deal. And then all of a sudden, this whole defund the police, this whole Black Lives Matter, this whole, just storyline that people, no matter what side you're on, just aren't really buying, started to tank. So then they started to be like, well, we need, to be patriots, all this different stuff. And then no one was really buying that. So I feel like they kind of were already jumping ship from that, in the past, I would say week or so. And even with coronavirus, I feel like with the momentum Trump's getting, he's going all this stuff, I still feel like the Democrats are still really trying to play that up by blaming him. I don't know if you saw the CNN, what was it, town hall or whatever with Biden, and literally just came out and said, if Trump wasn't president, no one would have died. No one would have died if Trump was president. How can you vote for someone who has killed 200,000 people? If he wasn't president, not a single person would die. I can't believe no one. And no fact check. But I know, right?
My mind exploded when I saw that. You know me and my coronavirus talk, man. I mean, that's what got me taken off on TikTok. Oh my! When he said that nobody, and by the way, when I first saw the headline, like, like we talk about, you and I, we like to, hey, we see a piece of information. Did he really say that?
Yeah.
I was like, he didn't
There's
really
no way.
say that.
There's no way.
So I watched the video clip, and he and Joe Biden said that if President Trump would have just either listened to the experts, or if he wasn't president, that nobody would have died. And then he says, just look at the data. Come on, man. Just look at the data.
Come on, man.
I'm like, look at the data. How about this? Instead of the data, let's look at the dates, as you and I always talk about. President Trump followed the recommendations every step of the way. I think the left, they're just breathlessly going from one thing to another. Russia, this, that. I mean, like anybody watching here, I mean, if you're chilling with us on a Saturday afternoon, then you're a political junkie. Like, what's been happening the last few years. They were sure that now, and here is where I want to make actually a big prediction. So last night didn't really change that too much. But I think, sometimes some of the most counterintuitive things happen when nobody expects them. Right now, people are either talking contested election, or Biden's going to win, or Trump might eke one out, and then we'll have a constitutional crisis. And of course you have a lot of Trump supporters saying, Trump landslide. But I also get a lot of DMs and a lot of comments saying, I'm scared. I need a stiff drink. I'm really scared of what's going to happen coming forward. But what? Like, what's stopping a true historic President Trump landslide? I think it's going to happen. And it's just this gut feeling that I have. And yes, I am going off intuition. I know some of the polls are really close in these battleground states, but I believe that there is a silent Trump voter out there. I have a cousin of mine who voted for Trump 4 years ago. He has a Trump flag in his home, cannot display it when family's over. And he's still telling people on social media, hey man, I'm still on the fence. He's not on the fence.
Like I told you about when I had the I don't want to call his name out, but I mean, I guess no one on here would know him, but young Mert, and he was like, I've talked to him before, but it was interesting because I, like you said, you think it might be a landslide, but let me put it on this way. I've through social media, through TikTok and Instagram, over about 470,000 followers across those. I know a lot of people that talk about politics, and a lot of the ones that are speaking out are pro-Trump, but then there's a lot of DMs where people are just like, I can't get behind the man. Like, I see what you're saying, but I can't get behind the man. So let me put this out there. I was thinking about this right before we hopped on. The silent majority, people say the silent majority. And I don't know if this is because I'm submerged inside this Trump train and we're all here, on the caboose, just yelling in each other's ears, getting each other hype.
Yeah.
But when you step out, so I my Instagram hasn't really been political.
Yes.
Very heavy. Like, I post some stories about it, but it's not post after post of politics.
It's for your company, yeah.
Yeah. So I made a couple political stories.
Instagram, yeah.
And the amount of people that came out of the woodwork being like, I can't believe you support Trump. This, he's that, he's this, he's that. I was like, okay, so I really have just been on, and for anybody who doesn't, go on TikTok, like the conservative TikTok, where I'm consumed by this.
Yes.
I've been surrounding myself with the loud majority of Trump.
Yes.
There's a silent majority. But I think due to Biden's insane just babbling, I feel like he might be the one with the silent majority now, because he is so hard to back. He is so hard to be like, I am a Biden supporter, and then someone says, "Why? Is it because of his 47 years of failure in the government, or is it because all the racist bills that he's actually been behind? Like, why? He's a hard man to support." So I feel like there's a lot of people who just hate Trump and have no good reason to vote for Biden, but they're doing it because, and they're not saying anything about it because they know they can't defend him. So, and this is all perspective. This is all just my,
of course,
my
yeah.
But I feel like people can't back Biden with actual logic and facts, but they hate Trump, so they're just not saying anything, and they're just going to vote. Yeah,
I will say though, I don't know. The two might collide. And again, I hope one of my cousin isn't watching this, but I have a cousin who hates Trump, and it's very, very, very extreme. I'm talking some Facebook posts that would shock you. And the worst part is that he works for an agency of government. I'm not going to go much further than that. But he posted on social media the other day. Now, He's gotten in plenty of arguments and fights over the years. He posted this on social media the other day. It was this big, long post, and he was very gracious. But my opinion is that he's 4 years too late. He said, everybody, I want your true, honest opinion. I want you to comment below if you are going to vote for President Trump. I will not debate you. I don't need to know why. If you want to give me your reasoning, you can do that, but I'm not going to fight you on it. But please, all I need is a simple yes answer. I will not debate you. All I will say is thank you for your response. He has several hundred friends on here and has gotten many, many arguments. Not one person has commented yet, and it's been up for 6 days. It's been up for 6 days. Not one person has said yes, because I now he doesn't even know what I do. Somehow, with across the millions and millions of views, again, he's in his echo chamber. He's in his echo chamber of all these liberal pages. So he's not going to come around to me, right? So he doesn't even know what I do. And so he doesn't know that I'm in this, that I have this, that I follow tradingpolitics.com, which is crazy. So, but not one person commented. And it's like, well, why would we? After all the things you've said, over the last 4 years, I'm
is he just trying to get like an unfollow list? Like, who I need to unfollow?
That was what I was thinking too. I wonder if but he seemed more gracious than he ever was. But I don't know. But the bottom line is, there is still a huge silent majority. Now, there was a study that came out from the Cato Institute that did say that there are liberals who are afraid to share their political opinions as well. But here's the thing, though. Nobody's going to get freaking fired from their job for supporting Joe Biden, okay?
True.
Nobody is going to have, call up, your freaking Starbucks employer and say, oh my God, did you know that he made a video saying that he really likes Joe Biden's immigration policy? If someone were to call your Starbucks and say, hey, your boy David over here is making videos about President Trump's immigration policy, saying that we need to build a wall, what do you have to say for yourself? There's a real possibility that that person could get fired. So there might be there is definitely some people who silently can't say, hey, I'm a Biden supporter. But at the same time, it's hard for me to think that with the riots, with the looting, with the lack of Democrats calling it out. I was listening to one podcast earlier, and they were talking about a guy who they knew personally, and it was like, this one guy I'm talking to, he's just going to vote Trump because he hates the media so much. Like, I don't even like any of his policies, but leave the damn guy alone, man. You guys are on him,
So I know. I had a friend tell me that he had friends that were purely voting for Trump because Biden said, if you have trouble figuring out if you're voting for me or for Trump, you're not black. And everybody laughs about that because you're just blown away that he said it. But you got to think about black Americans. And I've said this on my podcast before. I've been like, that is the closest I've ever felt to being a slave. Okay, that's the closest. And I don't buy into the Democratic Party, but I know people that do, and even they felt the same way. Like it felt like you should have said like, yes, I'm massa afterwards. Cause I mean, the smile that he put on, he's like, if you have trouble voting for me or figuring out voting for me or for Trump, you're not black. And then he leans back and smiles like this. I own what you do. And if you even question that I'm not your leader, you're not black. And as much as we laugh that off, that was a big deal. That was a big turning point. We have more people just in my realm, and I know I have an echo chamber of followers that are conservative, that are a minority, but I have more Hispanic and Black Americans that are just like, dude, I never thought of it. Like that one video that now has like almost 2.5 million views. I've had tons of I have tons of white people. I have tons of black people, Hispanics messaging me being like, I never had a party that way. Like I never thought about handouts in that way. I never thought about modern day like they just never twisted it that way where it's like, anybody who has kids knows that. Like if you give, and I'll just like the video is basically about saying that if you just keep giving somebody something. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
so keep anyway, talking about it, but it's going to take me a minute to get up on the screen.
Yeah. People really resonated with that. And I had probably, I don't know, 500, 600, 700 messages. I still haven't even gone through half of them. Basically being like, thank you so much for this video. Like it opened my eyes. I don't fully agree with you. I don't like Trump, but I'm definitely going to dig deeper. And I think Trump has a lot bigger black support. Support.
Yes.
system than he's ever had. The kryptonite to the Democratic Party is losing minorities, okay, and pandering with Cardi B and Fonzie and even The Rock coming out with the whole fear tactics with COVID.
Yep.
People are starting to be like, why? Like, what white celebrity is out there, pandering with Joe Biden? It's like, no, we don't need to pander to white people. We need to do all this stuff to the minorities, and minorities are seeing through it. They're like, dude, Luis Fonsi and Despacito, that's not even what we listen to. Like, so that's just so see through. And Cardi, no one with an IQ number at all is listening to her political point of view. So it's the pandering is just lost, and the minorities are starting to see, hey, I'm done being played to. I'm done having you treat me like I'm an idiot, and they're leaving. And if the minorities leave the Democratic Party loses every single time.
And that's another reason why I'm on this, train of like, I think it could be, a potential landslide, is because honestly, man, the Democrats, they absolutely need an extremely huge majority of the black vote, man. I mean, they need it in such a huge fashion. Like, and there was that poll that came out after the RNC saying, hey, saying that Trump's black support is up to 40%. I don't think he's going to get 40% of the vote. But here's my thing, is if that poll is even half right,
half correct, right?
It's over. It's over for the Democrats. Like, forget Pennsylvania, forget Michigan, forget Florida, forget Ohio. You're done. You can't win. You absolutely can't win. So everybody, I'm going to bring up John's insanely viral video here. I just pulled it up here. Take a note here. We're gonna analyze it because I have a few thoughts about what you said in here, and it's amazing, and it's actually a pretty good tool to use for your liberal when you have a liberal coming at you. So everybody, I'm gonna make our screen. I'm gonna diminish our screen a little bit. I'm gonna play his video here. So let me bring it up.
You can't
All right.
say that you're not racist and vote for Trump.
Hey, surprised you? I know. Black and I'm voting for Trump, and I'm not racist, but you might think I'm racist. But if you're on the left and you're really hardcore for the Black Lives Matter movement, then you probably are in the same mindset that you have white privilege and that you need to step back and listen to black people on how they feel and how the world has been for them. So I'd like to just have you sit here and listen to me for a second. Black people are not oppressed, not by any external force except for the Democratic Party, by giving them free things and not showing them how to work and create generational wealth. How come there's white people out there creating Section 8 housing, but all the black people are consuming it? No one wants to teach them how to create opportunity. They want to teach them how to receive handouts. So if you want to vote Democrat and you want to make other black people vote Democrat, you are encouraging their enslavement to, overall, white people or elitists. So maybe open your eyes and realize Trump is making it harder for black people to receive handouts and easier for them to create their own opportunity.
Boom, mic drop right there, man. When I saw that, I was like, dang, because I hadn't seen that. And then you texted me like, oh my God, this is going up. I'm going to just say one thing about it, and then I'm going to pass it over to you and let me know what you were thinking. And also let me know that the state that you were in when making that video. You told me you're on a literal ladder with that. So the way I took it is like, oh my God, you know what? I can so use that, because there's some liberal family members of mine that are telling you, like, we need to listen to minorities. You better, as white people, you need to shut up and listen to minorities. And then I say, okay, yeah, my buddy John Dawson here says he's not oppressed. Not those minorities. Not those black people. We don't want you to listen to those black people. We need you to listen to the black people over here that are telling you that they're oppressed. So it's like, wait a minute, then you're not telling us to listen to minorities, right? So what was going when you saw her video? What did you say? And again, you're on a ladder in the. Tell me how that whole thing happened.
I'm building this house, and I kept getting tagged in this video. And I normally like we talked about. I normally don't check my tags, but I was like, I got tagged in it like 10 times, and I was like, okay, I got to at least watch the video. And so I watched it, and I was like, first off, you sang it. Second, I don't like what you're saying. So I was like, I just need to address this. So I just was climbing up the ladder to go in the attic. And I was like, let me just make it real quick. And I thought it was going to be like a 10,000 view video, but I'm like, it'll be a good message. And in about, what was it? Like, I think 2 hours, it had like over 500,000 views. And I was like, oh, well, that's cool. I'm glad I didn't have a booger in my nose or something. But
Yeah.
it was my mindset behind that is it's, to be serious, it's something that people don't understand is that the Black community, yes, they do need assistance in certain areas. Everyone needs assistance in certain areas, but
Yes.
and I've discussed this 1,000 times since that video. Um, when you have somebody that needs help, you can't make it easy to receive a handout than it is for them to go get a job. So if someone's going to walk to my doorstep and give me $5, but I'm going to have to go out and make an application and apply and run around for 3 months before I get one job that's going to pay me $700 a month, why would I ever do that? Screw that $200. It's easier than $500. So the Black community and the
Yes.
impoverished community, which is filled with all types of races,
Yeah.
sitting at home saying, yeah, I could go out and make $1,000 a month, but I'm getting $800 for free. Why do that? Or I'm getting 500 EBT and however much, living assistance, and then my rent, I only pay, $47 of it. That's great for someone who's out actively looking for a job, and they say you need to be. But if you look at the stipulations and the path to get this assistance, if you just go apply, they don't check up on you, they don't do anything. So when people are like, well, Obama or Trump's making it, first off, Obama skyrocketed the assistance, which
Yep.
was ridiculous. I mean, it went up like 36% or 35% or something like that. Trump's making it more difficult. He's making it more, which everybody gets mind blown by that. Oh, how dare he?
Yes.
But he's making it more difficult. He's not making it impossible. He's making it more difficult for minorities and well, not minorities, for impoverished minorities and impoverished, communities to go out and get assistance. They can still go get it. If it's really needed, someone will figure it out. But he's
Yes.
making it easier for them to go out and get jobs. I mean, you can just look at the not requiring university degrees for federal jobs.
Yeah.
That is giving opportunity to someone who's been out working, who's been out doing stuff.
Yes.
Maybe they
Yes.
don't have the money to get an education. That's making it easier to get the jobs and harder to get the handouts. So what do? Same thing when I'm remodeling a house and I have no money. When I don't have money, I become creative and I figure out how to do it cheaper. When
Yes.
you don't have the money coming into you as easily, you figure out a way to go out and create your own opportunity and find your own jobs. That is what the impoverished communities need. That's what the Black community needs, to understand that it's not lack of opportunity. It's the fact that you become comfortable and you stopped looking for opportunity. So I think Trump 2020
it.
all the way, because he is the one that it's like that tough love. It's like your dad. It's like your mom. It's like whoever's in your family that's saying, I believe in you. Doesn't mean I'm going to give you everything, but I believe that you can do it. And trust me, it's going to be hard. That's Trump. Trump's like everybody's like, their father figure or their older brother that's like, right now, because I'm taking something away from you. But when you figure out how to create that and more for yourself, you're going to thank me later. And that's how I truly feel about Trump, is basically it's not going to be easy. He's willing to take the blame and the pointing of and go out and create or go out and give people opportunity.
Yeah.
Where Democrats just want to be thanked and said, hey, we gave you something free. Now stay there until we need you.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said right there is like he's not afraid to take the blame, because when you first say the words, President Trump is making it harder for people to go on government assistance, at first you're like, oh, but no.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you need that. Like you need that push to make it happen, and you need the person is tough enough and strong enough to say, yes, that needs to happen. A similar string. I was actually just at the pool store earlier today getting some stuff for my pool, and the customer he wasn't upset at the store owner, the pool store owner, but he says, "Oh wow, this is the only savings I'm getting. I thought I was coming in for a deal today." Now, some people would have said, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Let me give you an extra 10% off." So the guy goes, "Man, I thought I was getting a deal," and they go. I swear to God, he goes, "Not today."
Oh.
Not today. I was standing behind him
savage.
like, oh.
And that's the thing, though. Some people need to hear that. I've done jobs. I mean, I'm a contractor, so I do jobs for tons of people, and I get discounts because I shop at these stores. I spend thousands of dollars, so I get these discounts. And I'll get them like, say they're buying a bathtub that's $3,000. I'm like, hey, but don't worry, I'm gonna knock it down. I got 40% off with my professional card. Don't worry about it. And they're like, well, is there any more you can do? And I'm like, I would normally charge you full price. You're welcome. Like, why is it always cool? You gave me a little bit. Now let me just see if I can get a little bit more. Which I understand people want to save money. They want to get stuff, but at some point you got to just be like, where do you stop asking and you just go out and do and you create and you take advantage of opportunity? And it's becoming a society of like, I deserve, just like, the whole what Bernie ran on was, don't worry about it. I'm going to give it to you for free. Just do whatever you feel like.
Yes.
And that's become ingrained into people. It's not your fault. Life's not fair. It should be. Me, it's the same thing with what's going on with filling this seat right now, where it's like, well, that shouldn't be that's not the nice thing to do, or that's not the correct, you should have integrity of some sorts. But the integrity is only presented when it benefits the person that's not in the positive seat at the moment. So it's this double standard, this hypocritical thing where it's like, you got to do what you got to do. And sometimes it's in your favor and sometimes it's not, but regardless, you still got to go out there and work hard. So that, I feel like that, and no one likes what I'm saying right now. If I have a conversation with a Democrat, they're like, oh my gosh, you think motivation, you think just drive can solve anything. I'm like, no, but it can help individuals a lot, like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, and you and I have talked about this a lot too, but I mean, so you and I are both business owners, but we got here through something called personal development, something that we worked on ourselves, in my early 20s. And, there's nothing wrong with going out and partying. There's nothing wrong with having a good time with your friends and drinking. I'm not saying any of that. I just decided that I was going to be delving into personal development audios and marketing audios and things like that, instead of, going out and doing whatever. And I worked hard at the restaurant, and then I would improve on myself. And it's like imagine if that mindset was planted into the young minds of the people in the impoverished community. I think a lot could change. And you and I talked on your podcast a few weeks ago about, what the job Kevin Hart is doing. Kevin Hart's going out there teaching the young black man about money, about saving, about credit, about investing, all these kind of things, things that aren't often taught. Yeah, absolutely. But meanwhile, it's just so hard because for some reason, I think so many of these athletes, they're so stuck on what has been in the past. And you and I talked last time about turning that corner, right? So it's like, look, I know what happened was bad. So how can we turn that corner? But for some reason, and why do you think this is? Answer the question here, but why do you think that so many celebrities, let's say LeBron James, want to keep, I guess, the black community, but especially the young black community, who that they have the most influence over, because LeBron James is probably the most influential human being on the planet in terms of the fact that he has such a large platform of young people who look up to him. But meanwhile, and this isn't really focused on an economic standpoint, this is more about a racial thing, but you have LeBron James at press conferences saying, you don't know if a cop's going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed one day and say that it's the end for one of these black people. What do you think goes through a young black man's head when he hears LeBron James saying that?
Well, I say this every now and then and because people always tell me I'm not black, right? For any guys that are watching, I'm not black because I'm conservative. But people say, they let culture predict their future rather than just define their past, for lack of a better way to say it. So culture is like, you're not black, you're not, this is what happened in the past. So they let this culture and this lifestyle that was in the past define how the future is going to be, instead of saying, this is how we got here. How do we get to there? So everyone's like, if you don't recognize history, you're doomed to repeat it, which I understand. But living in the history, I made a long time ago, one of the first months I was on, basically saying we hold oppression as like a statue, as this all powerful realm that controls the black community. So like we have these kids, or me, I'm 28, and I have white older people that are 45, 50. I have black older people that are 45, 50 saying, you know what, son, you don't understand where you came from. You're not respecting, you're not respecting your culture. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm saying to someone, myself, a 28-year-old business owner that's trying to create as much opportunity for myself as I can. You're telling me that I'm not respecting my oppression by going out and doing what I want to do and telling others that they can do the same? Like, it makes no sense. So the LeBron James approach, the celebrity approach, to just ignore the fact that they don't want to get booed by their people, because people love to be told it's not their fault why they're doing it, because they want to remain popular. But if you eliminate that, the reason they're doing it is because they've been taught that. If they don't feel the oppression, they've been told they need to respect the oppression. They need to respect the racial divide. And if you disrespect that divide and you say, hey, look, I don't see a division between me and you, then they're just they're mind blown. They're just like, I have to respect it because I've been told to. So this
Yep.
is a long game. This is a long mental game of brainwashing of the Black community, basically saying you are dependent on your history to define your past, rather than your past is how you got here. You are responsible to craft your future. And if you preach what I just preached right now, you're going to be called coon, clown, racist, white supremacist, not Black, not in touch with your roots. We don't claim them, all these things. So it's a real slippery slope. That's why my TikTok and all my platforms are very respectful. I'm never going to condemn anyone for the way they think, because we have all arrived to where we are through a different path, through a different doorway. So you can't say someone's being ignorant or the way they think. You don't know how they got there. All you can say is, I understand. I completely understand how you got there, but tell you what's worked for me and how I've moved past this oppressed mindset. And it's been working. It's been working really well. Not as well as I want, because it's a mental through, especially when celebrities. I took it down, but I made a video today talking about LeBron James and how they've never. I mean, this dude's been a famous basketball player since he was 16. This dude, since he was of legal age, he's never had to file his taxes. He's never had to vote politically towards anything that would ever affect him. Politics don't affect him. Police don't affect him. This kid has literally been LeBron James gets police escorts to concerts. Yeah. The oppressed, or I would say white privileged LeBron James, life on a platter, and then tells kids who are actually in the ghetto that they're going to get shot. I'm like, dude, blows my mind. And then you have like the Lil Waynes, what's his name? Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, all these guys come out and start preaching truth and saying, look, man, go do it. I don't want to hear you're complaining. And then they're called all those slurs that I just put out before. So it's this game where it's like, if you become free thinking and you become unoppressed or liberated, if you will, then the alienation begins and you can't talk to your people anymore. And then that keeps them in the cycle. And it's a genius ploy to keep modern day, I don't like saying slavery, but modern day slavery intact. On the Democratic side.
Slavery in a way. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the things that you said there about, like, if you even disagree with the left, you get called, coon, Uncle Tom, and ironically, these are some of the most racist names that you could possibly call somebody, but this is coming from the side who say they're not racist. Now, I haven't kept up with the page as much, but I have a page on TikTok that I collaborate with where it's a page all in Spanish, right? So I speak Spanish, so I've done a few videos on that page in Spanish. Now, when I make a video speaking Spanish as a white man, I don't get any hate. I don't get any hate DMs. But when the people I'm collaborating with, both of them are from Mexico, when they make a video, they get some of the most vile, disgusting, racist comments I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Those people are the real racists. They're more racist than in one comment than anything that President Trump has ever said in his life. And it's just ridiculous that they say, well, just because of the color of your skin, just because you're Mexican, just because you're Black, you can't vote Republican. And I think we're at a point to where those people are waking up, man. They're like, forget you guys. And you know what? Even if they're not voting for Trump, a lot of them aren't going to be voting for Biden. And that's a vote for Trump. A vote not for Biden is a vote for Trump.
Or some of them are to the point where they're not even going to vote. They're just like, I'm done. Like I'm so lost as to which way's up and which way's down. I got to step back. And I want to bring this up. And I know, I've been doing a ton of research. I have actually a friend that's been doing research for me. And I've been doing a bunch of research. We've been talking on the phone, connecting. We're looking into the party switch, which is more of a party shift. And based off this racist, and 2020, you got a similar shift happening because you see the Republicans that I would like to say, this is opinion, are corrupt in some sort, switching over to the Democratic side. And they're like, well, we kind of side with the way they do politics better. And then you have these Democrats who are legitimately in office to do good, because as much as, we talk bad or we talk against Democrats, there's a lot of them in there that are really trying to do good for people. They started shifting over to the Trump side because, like, I see more of my values in this person. So back when the party switch, when you had the Dixiecrats, you had the Democrats, you had the Republican Party, you saw this shift of when the Republicans started to get started to realize, I mean, the Republicans started winning the South, right? But the reason they were winning it before is because there was racism involved. And then they started to take away racism. And then you had some of the Democrats and the Dixiecrats who weren't as racist. So they kind of came over to that Republican side. And then you had some of the Republicans that originally were, you know, pretty racist to begin with. They went over to the Democrat side because they were like, if you guys are become less racist, we got to go over here because we align with their views more. So you had to shift way back in the day. And then everybody that's saying that's like, well, why did all the people that were racist wait till what? It was like the late 60s with Lyndon B. Johnson. How come they all decided to shift then? And then all of a sudden the Democratic side became insanely oppressive to black people. So it's very interesting how everyone likes to say there was a party flip, but really it was the same parties. They just, the values started to taper and change. Just, I mean, and the crazy thing, the reason I'm so excited about digging into it now is you can see the same thing here. Like everyone likes to pin Republicans as racist. And if you look way back, I mean, both sides are racist, but Republicans were fairly racist. But now you're starting to see this inclusive mentality become progressive on the left side and a racist historical mindset on the right side, where Republicans are like, we support gays, we support blacks, Hispanics, immigration. We actually want to make immigration relatively easy so you can come in legally. And they're like, well, that's kind of weird. And then all of a sudden the Democrats are on this insane leftist agenda of like, well, we're not saying we're not racist, but we don't agree with any minority that says anything other than exactly what we believe, which is major racism. I mean, I've never seen a Democrat black person called coon, clown, or
oh my
Tom
God,
by a black Republican.
Or a white Republican. I mean, think about that. You know, so in this book right here, Don't Burn This Book by Dave Rubin, he talks about everything you're talking about because he is a gay man who used to be, or he is a liberal. He calls himself a classical liberal. And he's like, I didn't leave the left. The left left me.
Exactly.
He's like they went from, you know, rare, safe, and legal abortions to right up until the day before the child is born. You have the constitutional right to kill that thing in the womb, even though it could have survived months ago. Like now they're that far this way. It went from immigration to where you have literally Bill Clinton giving one of the most memorable immigration speeches on the floor of Congress, and where it's like you will be deported if you're here illegally. Now it's like let everyone in. Well,
if you look at their deportation numbers, they deported a ton of people. You should look at Obama's deportation numbers, and that's just exactly what you said. The Democrat Party is slowly becoming extinct, and leftists. I mean, I don't even know what you would call them. Are becoming dominant because it's no longer somewhat common ground, just different viewpoints, different angles. It's polar opposites. We are pro-life. They're literally pro-murder. Like to the end. I mean, that's insane. That's insane. Or we're all inclusive to everyone. Like come as you are. You know, all you have to do is share these simple values, and you're one of us. We appreciate it. Whereas the leftists are basically, if you just associate with somebody, we're going to call you every single bad name and racial slur in the book. And I know there's Republicans out there that do the same thing but it's just so few and far between. It's mind blowing how far and low and evil a lot of Democrats have become, and how not a single person on that side condemns them one bit. No one 100%. Does. Like you said, the 100%. DNC, they didn't condemn any of this just absurd behavior. You didn't have to say that the movement was bad. You didn't have to credit the movement, but to at least acknowledge the destruction and the immaturity that's going on in the nation. To not even acknowledge it, that is extreme. That is an extremist move, and they're not Democrats to me.
And you know what's funny is what you said about, like, of course there are racist people on the right or whatever. So here's the thing, and I was talking about you with this on the phone earlier, is that of course you can, if you dig, you can find any racist person on either side. The difference with the left is that, you know, and that call out that I put up here of this guy named Reza Aslan, who's a prominent liberal says, if they even try to replace RBG, we burn the entire effing thing down. He is a verified, exactly. He's a verified Twitter user. Exactly. You have Snoop Dogg calling black conservatives, Candace Owens and everyone, coons and Uncle Toms. You have Kathy Griffin, because she is a liberal, she can have a bloody stump of a mock head of President Trump and hold it up for the world to see. And here's my main point. Is that these are mainstream liberals. These are not random Twitter trolls. These are not random Facebook trolls that every now and then we do get in the comment section here. These aren't random Instagram or TikTok trolls. These are Twitter verified people who have not only millions of followers, but a lot of influence. Yeah. So when these people say something, when they hold up a bloody stump of a head of President Trump, when they say, let's burn the effing thing down, their words means something to a lot of freaking people. And it's like, imagine a conservative, there's not one conservative, not one verified conservative who would come out and say, burn down the Supreme Court if we don't get what we want. Not one.
No. And if they did, oh my God, even conservatives would be just calling them out. I mean, and that's where it comes down to, just if you look at core values, if you break all this down to just core values, and not everybody has them, but think about just the respect portion of the Republican side. Basically saying, I know that if this was in reverse, there would be a lot of Republicans that would probably want to say this. But the self-control to be like, that's not going to go over well. Or someone could take that to an extreme, like we talked about on the phone, and do that or more. You've got to understand what the power you hold here. Like, it's extreme behavior. When it comes, I'm not going to get into, conspiracies, but when it comes down to it, it's a major shift in the world, because the United States of America really does control the economics of the entire world. Wherever we go, others follow. Yeah. So we're seeing this last resort to retake the castle, if you will.
Yes. And
the put on, the knives have been pulled out, the torches are out, and the Republicans are just sitting here like, I don't even have to argue my point. There's no better advocate for the Republican Party than a extreme Democrat. I mean, that's how it's happening.
They don't want to be on that side anymore. And since they've all divulged so far to the left, it's like they're leaving so many people out in the middle. And I just don't think it's going to end well for them. And I'll just finish off by saying what I was saying earlier about the whole landslide thing is that, they were, think about how much they've been wrong about. They were sure that Hillary was going to win. They were wrong about that. And not only were they sure Hillary was going to win, but they were sure that Trump would not concede defeat. Well, how the tables have turned. It was Hillary lost, and she went to bed that night without conceding. They were sure that Michael Flynn colluded with, did some shady stuff with the Russians before coming into office. Yeah. They were sure that Trump colluded with Russia, Ukraine. They were sure that he did all of these terrible things. And my question is, they've been wrong about everything for 5 years. What makes us think that they're going to be right about this? And that's why I think that you have so many people waking up. And I just think that they don't have a pulse on the country. Yeah. And I think it could be a huge victory for President Trump. I really do think so. Just because nobody sees, you see, when President Trump won in 2016, they were just shocked that he won. Now they know he can win, but I think the shock that's going to come is how big he's going to win. Yeah. That's the shock that I'm going to see on election night. Van Jones on 2016 election night was super pissed off, and he says, this was a white lash. This was a white lash against a black president. This was a white lash against a changing country. Well, that's, he freaked out, and all this fear mongering is just a bunch of BS. But the bottom line is that I think the shock was that he won in 2016. The shock in 2020 is going to be by how much he wins. And that's what I think is going to happen. So we'll see what happens.
I agree. And I encourage, before we leave here, I encourage everyone that, the 700 to 800 people that are watching right now, voice your opinion respectfully. I've talked to so many people that have never talked to them respectfully. And I mean, I'm talking about probably close to 1,000, if not more, people that have been like, no one's ever explained that to me. It's always been Trump 2020 or, not racist. like defending these things or making these statements that give no information. But when you say,
Yes.
hey, yeah, I'm a Trump supporter, and then you just throw in like, well, I like him because, you know, he gave minorities this, he did HBCUs, just give them one reason. They're like, oh, that's interesting. So like, I would just encourage people, this is a pivotal time, and we have a little bit of time left, 44 days or something like that. Don't be afraid to say you're a Trump supporter. Have a couple facts in your back pocket that it says, hey, or have a couple content creators like Clayton or myself. Hey, why don't you go watch this person for a second and just see what you think? Because so many people have been like, I just didn't know. Like I kind of was on the bandwagon. People don't realize the potency of bandwagons. See it time and time again. They jump on it. They ride it till the end. They just need someone to step in and say, hey, like, did you ever hear about this? So I would encourage you guys to not feel afraid to speak out and say you're a Trump supporter, and have a couple reasons why. Have a couple creators that you can show to them. I be part of creating this landslide. I really do. I want to start this domino effect in these last 44 days, and let's turn the silent majority into a respectful, loud majority.
Yeah. I love it. No, I love it because, man, and that's the thing too. Like sometimes, I always say this, but exposing just one lie that the liberal media has said, just one lie, and it opens people's minds to say, "Whoa, he didn't say that," or they lied about this. Then they go, "Whoa, what else have they lied to me about?" You know, and I think, but it's all comes to respectful, because, you know, when you shout in people's face and say, "Ha ha," you know, Biden, and it's like, you know, we all do it and it's all fun, but at the same time, it's like, respectful conversation is always going to be the best way to diffuse the situation. Like, you can feel the tension go away when you respect. And I'm not going to lie. You know, I told you earlier about my cousin who posted on social media saying, "I will not get mad at you. I will not, hurt, sling any
try to argue
crap at you, talk trash. All I will do is say thank you." I was tempted. I'm not going to lie. I was tempted just because he was civil for the first time in 4 years. Now think about this. I know now he overstepped the line. So nobody trusts him now after 4 years. So he's too far gone for anyone to trust him now. But guess what? If you're just a good person and you're respectable, like, and if you come to someone and say, "Look, if you say you're voting for Biden, hey, that's okay. I'm not going to like shun you or you know, kick you out of my life, but let me just explain to you why I don't agree with that." I think, you know, it's been so controversial for so long to vote for Trump. And I think it's time for all of us to just break out of that. And it's time to, you know, it's really time to not be afraid anymore. Yeah. So.
And I want to just real quick, last thing, that video that you guys saw of me with the girl that said, if you don't vote for Trump, or if you vote for Trump, you're racist or whatever. I messaged her on Instagram. We've been talking for about 2 days now. She's taken down all her hate videos about Trump. She never saw it from my point of view. I was respectful. I don't think she's a Trump supporter yet, but she understands that there's more to the story. So that's all you need. You don't need them to be a Trump supporter. Just open up your mouth, open up your DMs, open up your Instagram story, say something respectful. Say, "Hey, I'm willing to talk. I want to learn. I want to learn what you have. I want to give you some of my information." Yeah, man. Send love out to everybody.
Man, and you know, that made me think, like, if she's taking down all her stuff, part of me thought you were going to say that you're going to take down that viral video of yours, but I would just say if it was me, I wouldn't, because okay, good. Yeah, I was just making sure.
No, yeah, because I've had thousands of messages on that one video alone.
Because even if she sees the error of her ways, there are tens of thousands of people, especially on that app and on all apps. They are still so ignorant to think that I guess I'm woke politically in not in the sense of on the left, but like, I have interacted with so many people of all races, creeds, and kinds of who support President Trump. And so when I come across someone who is still so ignorant that they think that if you are Black or Hispanic or a woman, that you can't vote for Trump or that you're racist, I'm like, wait a minute. Oh my God, people like this still exist.
They don't know. This, people talk trash in front of me. They just assume like, "Oh, Trump, can you believe the guy?" I'm like, you don't know me very well.
Exactly. And so I just think that it's like, sadly, there are tens of thousands of people who still think like her, that if you cast that vote for President Trump, then you are a racist and then a white supremacist. There's this viral video on TikTok that everyone's always, contacting or always responding to. It's this girl that goes, Donald Trump is a white supremacist. If you vote for him again, you're a white supremacist.
Yeah.
Basically, support the president, you're a white supremacist.
Yeah.
I think that the left has overplayed their hand time after time after time with that. And now you have people like you who are waking up. You have people like everyone else who say, you know what, forget you. I don't care what you say. I'm voting for President Trump and I don't care what you call me. So that's
100%. Patriots all day. All day Patriots. Don't be afraid.
Right.
And always know you got people's backs.
Amen. Amen. All right. Well, everybody, had a lot of you guys stick on the entire time. Appreciate every single one of you guys. We're going to post a replay here. Everybody go follow John Dawson on Instagram, John_Dawson on Instagram. And then once you get that Facebook page up, we're going to link you up and tag you and everything. And then guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. We're going to, the YouTube replay is going to be available right away. Also, if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you hit that like button so that Facebook knows to show us more of your content or show our content to you. I don't know why. I always mess that part up. I don't know why I always mess that part up. But hey, John, man, I really appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Appreciate being on here. Thank you.
All right, man. All right, everybody. You guys have a great rest of your Saturday. We are going to be live on Monday morning, as always, guys, at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. God only knows what we're going to talk about on Monday, because who knows what's going to happen in the next 48 hours. You don't know how much. Yeah, I mean, President Trump could have a nominee by that, or have a new appointee by that time. It's going to be something crazy. So, all right. So everybody have a great rest of your day. John, appreciate you, man. And you guys all have a good rest of your day.
Guys.